It's okay. It's nice. It's a nice day. Yeah, sure is. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Hey, Good. How you doing?
Good. Sorry, my eyes are like terrible. Let's go.
That's okay. I do that all the time when I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm like, hey, and then they get closer. Oh, hi.
Talk out today.
I know I did that.
That's been a search.
You guys aren't out and about tonight, right? Let's go.
Is that it? With the snow?
Hope so. What's that?
I thought it was going to be worse. Snow?
No, we got lucky.
Now we got lucky Washington.
I guess the guys out there now talking time and a half away. What's that? 7:30. Everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing and honor those serving in the military. Great, thank you. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Nicole, appreciate it. Make a motion to approve previous board minutes of December 2nd, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Suffolk County Police, come on down. Thank you for coming tonight. You've never been here before, right?
I am not.
It's really bad. You have to sing 2 songs first. You're right there, please. It's just, no, you can stand there. That's great. Thank you. Bill, I don't know. Please, you want to go through the report?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to go through the report as far as what we had this month. Got 5 things on the report that you guys gave us. As far as the first one, December 8th, it says criminal trespass. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that was a team of guys that...
Yeah, let's fill it up briefly.
came of that?
There's still an ongoing investigation.
Could you speak up a little bit?
Myself?
Still.
Oh, all right.
Still an ongoing investigation.
All right. Yeah, because I know they hit a couple of other spots in the area that night.
I believe it was 2 houses.
Yeah, it was a group of, I think, like 4 guys, a car.
I'm not 100% sure,
Alright.
but there was a car involved.
Yeah, but nothing.
It was more than one person.
All right, I just have a question for you. I know it was brought to my attention December 3rd. It's not on the report. There was somebody on Lombardi Boulevard who had come back from the gym at like 6 a.m. and there was a couple in his driveway, a male and a female. And when he pulled up, he basically, said, "Can I help you? What's going on? Whatever." And they ended up having some words, and the guy brandished a gun and then left. He called. He said the police did show up about an hour later, and a central complaint was taken.
A report.
But is there a difference between a criminal report and a central complaint?
A criminal report is under the central.
All right.
complaint.
But
It's just the report number.
all right, but nothing shows in our monthly.
I didn't see that.
All right.
This is
If I have the report, or I mean, whatever.
I could look into it.
All right, yeah, please, because the guy, threatened this guy, and then said to the officer.
Do we know when this, like at what time?
Yeah, I have the report. I can show it to you.
Okay.
When, at any time.
Okay.
But yeah, outside of that, anything going on?
Well, did the homeowner get a receipt from the police
Yeah,
officer?
that's what I was forwarded that. It's basically just a cover page with numbers on it, but nothing. He never received anything, any kind
Any
of follow-up
follow-up,
or anything
follow-up
like
or
that.
anything.
Yeah.
So I can look into it. I don't know if it was how it was taken, but if it was taken as a criminal report, then it's an ongoing investigation. So
There's a couple of villages that have plate readers, and there's a push now from some of the villages to combine forces and get grants for plate readers that they scatter throughout villages and other places. Is that something that you're familiar with?
the
them at all?
precinct has a few sector cars that have plate readers on them.
Right.
Sector car that's signed to bright waters does not have one yet.
Okay, but if we got a dozen of these and scattered them throughout the town, then it could only help, right?
Of course.
Also, we had an issue at the cabin on Saturday the 28th. The guy, about 5 in the morning, broke a window, went in, laid down, took a 2-hour nap, and then got out and left later on. We didn't find out till maybe about 24 hours later, but instead of bothering the police, we went on our cameras, because we have cameras there, so we saw what the guy did. He just took a nap, took a bottle of water, took a nap, and we just sent a report. We sent it to Officer Wright on the 30th. We followed up the next day. We still have not received anything from him, so if you happen to see him, could you say that the village of Brightwaters is still waiting for a response?
Of course, no problem.
We're not sure sometimes if it's a non-violent thing or emergency, who do we talk to? Who should we call? Should we call officers?
911. So a sector car can.
Well, even if it's not, okay, it happens 24 hours later. I don't want to.
You can still come and we'll take the report, and whatever evidence we can collect at that time, we'll collect, and then forward it to an investigator.
Okay.
If we're not able to right then and there, with the evidence we have, make an arrest or go to someone. Let's say there was a vehicle on the scene, someone took a picture of the plate, we can go further, we can investigate it ourselves.
Yeah, it just looked like a guy it was raining that night, pouring raining, so he grabbed a rock, broke a window, he opened the door, grabbed a blanket, and laid it on the couch. So,
But yeah, but
again, we don't want to bother you guys. We know you guys are busy, so when we call, it's important. When we don't call, we're just trying to make it easier for you. But we'd appreciate a response from. I assume he's our code officer in charge of this area.
he's in charge of the precinct.
Right.
But to have it pushed through to be investigated and everything, just call 911 and we'll come and respond and take the report.
Yeah, this days with a homeless guy breaking a window and taking a nap, to us isn't a critical thing. We just would like to get a response when we send out emails.
I'll look into this and then and speak to the right.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else on the board have any questions?
No, I can give you this though if you want. That's the information from that report.
This is from the driving incident?
Yep. Yeah.
Do any of the residents have any questions for the officer?
Not a question, just wanted to make everyone aware. In December, I called the precinct. My mom had gone outside. I live on the corner of Windsor and Johnson, and at the stop sign, she saw something tiny in the sun, and it was a huge 10-inch chef's knife. So I called the precinct because, well, first of all, she took it and just threw it in one of my planters to get rid of it because it's a bus stop. The kids were going to be getting off the school bus soon. But I just want to let people know, I mean, I don't know, it was random that the precinct told me just to dispose of it, the desk officer that I spoke with, so I thought that was a little bit odd, but I just wanted to let people know, I mean, it was a kitchen knife, it looked like something you'd buy in Williams-Sonoma, but it was just a big knife and it was right where the kids get on and off the school bus. So.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anything else for the officer? Okay, great. All right, thank you. Thanks for your help.
very much.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Okay, report to the mayor and the trustees. Trustee Foster, could you start us, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you all for coming out. Happy New Year. Mike gave me a little bit of a report. I got a couple of things myself to add, but as of today, we've received 26.03 tons of salt to our salt shed at the DPW yard. They obviously used that today. Did a great job of making sure our roads were clear all day, so I appreciate that, Mike. Appreciate you guys. We're doing some work with some of the storm drains and some other things during the village, this past month in the village. Hot patching. They're not responsible for those really bad patches that you've seen on Woodland and some of the other roads. That would be our Suffolk County Water Authority that's been doing some work around and NACRA been doing some work around the village. They've done some pretty bad potholes. I contacted Nicole. Nicole reached out to them, and they've actually been going back in, ripping up the holes and repairing them correctly. So they're much better than they were, but they're still not great. We will probably be doing this spring once everything is settled. They usually wait 6 months to let everything settle. We'll be redoing those roads, repairing them, completely paving curb to curb. We did our annual tree planting, so anybody that requested a tree was notified that we would be getting a tree. That has been completed. We have a lot of these horse rails fences around the village. They continue to repair those. We have to look at that in the future, whether or not that's something we want to continue to do. It becomes quite expensive as they all start to deteriorate at about the same time. And it's a lot of work and time for our 6-man crew, 5-man crew. Unfortunately, we have a lot of vandalism in the lake, around the lakes. It continues. Over the summer, they were taking out signs, throwing them into the lakes. Now they've decided to rip out the receptacle that was put up there for fishing lines. I guess they threw that in the lakes, Mike? Yeah, so they had to retrieve that. We already spoke about it, but they had to fix and board up the vandalized door at Mississippi Park cabin. And they've done some brush cleanup. We actually had, over this past weekend, right, John? Was it Saturday? Saturday, on coldest day we've had so far this year. We had Newsday come out and take pictures of us and the lakes committee, a couple of people that were there, and they're going to do a story on what we're doing about Nebraska Lake and basically all of the lakes, which really is going to be a long-term fix for us. Part of that is we got our we-new boat sitting in DPW yard, very pretty. Look forward to using that. And then they just did other stuff around the village, cleaning up gutters, cleaning the tennis courts. There's a ton of leaves that get thrown out. We've actually had some residents who have tried to take advantage of us and put the leaves in the alleyways. We've got to have conversations with them. I'll say that they said it was their landscaper, but they should know better. And of course, it was great. For those of you that were at the Christmas lighting tree, there was also menorah lighting. Our DPW sets that up, sets up the nativity every year, and they did a great job. So again, Mike, thanks for that, and thanks for everything you guys do all year round. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, great. Trustee Pettit?
Yeah, so piggybacking off what the police officer was talking about, we did have the cabin vandalized on the 28th. As far otherwise, it seemed like a pretty quiet holiday season. We just want to stick to locking our car doors in the driveway. I would say, review your Ring cameras, see if anything, if you see that something happened overnight, your car was messed with or people were on your property. If somebody messes with your car, I would say you call 911 and get a report. Otherwise, put it on My Brightwaters app so that we know about it. We're talking about pushing back the traffic study to April, May, when we have more traffic in the village. And that's about it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Do we have on the app a way to notify the village if we have somebody that's had somebody on their property trespassing or in a car right now?
I think there is a spot for it, but it's not that obvious.
It's not, yeah,
Right?
it's
It's
not
like,
it's set up as an emergency.
So maybe we could reach out to Jeannie, have it set up as a separate tab, just so we can start collecting this data, because we're talking about collecting the data and sharing that with the
okay.
The only way we're gonna get more patrol cars in the village is we gotta get squeaky wheel.
Yeah,
Okay.
agreed.
Okay, great. Trustee Delvecchio?
The winter is slow for me, but we have to start looking ahead to the spring and summer. I always ask that if you're interested in doing any volunteer projects, specifically the Scouts coming in, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or other service organizations, please get in touch with me so we can talk about what needs to be done in the village and maybe we can brainstorm some ideas. Any new food trucks, or if anyone knows of food trucks who are coming into town come spring or summer, please send that information our way because we'll be setting up the Walker Beach food truck schedule along with the garage sale and things like that. The last thing is, on a larger scale, the town of Islip is having some planning meetings about their comprehensive plan. Their first public workshop is this Wednesday, January 8th, from 6 to 7:30 at Town Hall. There's also a place to share your ideas for the larger town at toi360.com. This is our way to put in our input for the larger town of Islip. So I'm going to be keeping tabs on it, and I hope that other residents are aware and getting interested in staying active with this, because I think if we're not there, our voices will definitely not be heard. So,
Yeah,
I'll send it out, yeah.
yeah, I have a bit, I'll send you a good
PDF? Yeah, I think I have it.
picture. Okay.
Yeah.
I sent it to Nicole to send out tomorrow, so I should encourage people to go to that if they can. There'll be more meetings, and the village will be involved in it a little bit more as the time goes on. But it's gonna be a while. I'm not saying we're in the town of Islip. My conversations, we're just the small mom and pop store on the corner. They're worried about airports. They're worried about Ronkonkoma Hub. They're worried about major stuff. So I'm not saying they don't take us as if we're part of them, but I think we run independently. I think we do a good job of running independently. So we're going to try to let our voices be heard, because what affects them affects us. But they have a lot of things on their plates. But we definitely want to be involved. Thanks, man. All right, as far as me, again, I want to thank all the committees for their help last year. I look forward to working with them this year. The Lakes Committee, the Garden Club, Art Council, the Historical Society. All these things are fairly new. So again, I appreciate all their help. We're trying to get the Parks Committee, get some younger people involved. I know everybody's busy, but the more people that help out, the better it is for us. Fishing on the lakes, our next working meeting, we have to figure out what to do, because I got my weekly picture from the geese huggers showing me that there are hooks in swans' necks again. Last week they were in the lakes pulling hooks out of the necks of the swans. So we really have to do something. No one's been fishing. This is stuff that's been left over from the summer. So we have to move forward with something to deal with that in the future. They're just not cleaning up, and I think we would be wrong not to do something. The traffic study we spoke about putting it back. The plate readers, I don't know if you already mentioned to the officer, but there's a big push now to have more municipalities get these plate readers. Like with those guys who broke into the house on Lakeview East, if we had the plate reader at the top of the canal or at the top of South Windsor, then we know whose car it is. So if we spread them out throughout the village in about a dozen places, I think it'll help out a lot in the future. Between that, the rings, we know when it happens, car goes by, so it should be a helpful tool in the future. So they're just starting to have meetings on getting more and more of that, and having somebody else pay for them. They mentioned Newsday came and took a picture of us standing at the lakes freezing. I think that's going to be in tomorrow's paper. Other than that, that's all my report. The next thing, about 3 years ago, we started working on the village history. Veronica Kramer started looking into different things. She got me going, and we ended up finishing the room underneath this room where we are now. Most of it was done through donations, and we finished a nice area for people to work. From her cleaning out behind closets and file cabinets, we started morphing into the Historical Society. The Historical Society, you know, Mary Kate is here. She's the president of the Historical Society. Their meeting, they have monthly meetings, monthly speeches. So we have an active Historical Society, but we have to have an official historian in order to apply for grants. The Historical Society is a nonprofit, 501c3. All right, so right now it's morphing. They've scanned all the old documents. That's being organized better downstairs. So documents are scanned. We're an official organization. So now we have to have an official looking person as our historian. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Gabrielle. And Gabrielle, I'm going to bring you up for a phony photo. Okay, so be ready. Okay. I'm not good at that either. But I'd like to make a motion to appoint Gabrielle Bantos Gomez as the village historian to fill an unexpired term to the end of 7/1/2025. Gabrielle holds dual masters in history and library information science with certification in archiving and preservation of the cultural heritage materials. She is a local history and adult reference librarian at the Bayshore Brightwaters Public Library and is a Bayshore born and bred. She moved back to Brightwaters in 2019 with her husband and 2 poodles and has been enjoying digging into the village life ever since. It's also not on here, but I have to mention that Gabrielle is a member of the Brightwaters Much volleyball team, and she is pretty good. We enjoyed her company this past summer. So I make a motion to approve Gabrielle. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Gabrielle, you want to come up quick? Come on.
I wasn't sure if I should bring the family Bible.
Podium in the way, or we could?
Yeah, I'll
It's very efficient. Wow.
I'll take a couple.
Fun.
Nailed it.
All right.
Nailed it.
Hold on.
Glasses
Just
off.
the Christmas one? Great.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for
You'll have to summon yours, Mary Kate. You'll have to summon yours. Okay, yeah.
All right.
The Historical Society is moving along. We have a nice mixed bag of youths and older people, so we do appreciate all the work that you guys put in. Mary Kate, okay? How's that? I appreciate it.
Just like I run.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is to, we had talked about trying to control the colors of our downtown and making sure that the planning board spends a lot of time with the businesses when they're coming in and blah, blah, blah. And then once the planning board's job is done, a year later, if the business sells, and all the time and effort that the planning board put into colors and making it look right is thrown out the window. So we've come up with this. We've had 2 public hearings on this in order for us to try to control and maintain the look of the village. So make a motion to adopt local law 1-2025, 128-96.1, the amending the adoption of Brightwater's Village Code, Section 128-27, 128-67, for the requirements of creation of an architectural review board for alterations to structures in all business districts and residential D districts. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next thing, 5 years ago, when I first became mayor, 6 years ago, one of the things we wanted to do is make the entire village 25 miles an hour. Now, do people go 25 miles an hour? Maybe not, but it's just that when you see the 25 mile an hour sign, at least you stop and think about it, because a lot of times when you're traveling upstate, different parts, I was up in Maine, everything is 25. So when you see 25, at least hopefully you stop and think a little bit. When we tried doing it the first time, we found out after we approved it and all went forward that we weren't legally allowed to do that because of the size of the village. Now, about 3 years ago, the state changed that, so now that any municipality can become 25 miles an hour. So we've had to go back and play with the paperwork, play with the codes. So Charlie, you want to just try to talk me through here?
Sure. So, may I ask for a motion for a public hearing on local law 2 and local law 3?
Okay. Make a motion to have a public hearing on local law 2 and 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So the mayor's quite right. We tried to do this in 2018, and we were limited by restrictions of the state. In 2022, the state passed a law which says that villages and towns can reduce their speed limit to 25 miles an hour. It took effect this year. So local law number 2 repeals a section of the village code that would limit the number of streets that can be made 25 miles an hour. We repeal that. And then we pass local law number 3, we repass what we did in 2018, which says no person shall operate a motor vehicle or bicycle, a motorcycle upon any public highway within the corporate limits of the village of Brightwaters at a rate in excess of 25 miles per hour. So we need local law number 2 because local law, that section of the code, which is 119-19.1, lists the streets that can only be 25 miles an hour, so it's limited. So we need to
just join it. Like 6 years ago, we were allowed to do some of the village 25. So the main roads, the Windsors, the canal, we were able to change to 25. The rest of the blocks, we weren't allowed to change to 25, so we had to list them. So now we have to remove that part of the code to try to make it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We're repealing that section because it limits the number of streets that can only be 25 miles an hour, and repassing what we did in 2018, which is a blanket law of 25 miles per hour. Now there are certain roads in the village that we can make 15 miles an hour, which is the bridges, and then others that are service roads, and of course we have no jurisdiction on state roads, so we can't change the speed limit there. But these 2 laws must accomplish what the state has said we can do, pursuant to Section 1643 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law, which is that villages and towns can reduce speed limits to 25 miles an hour.
So this has to go up to Albany, they have to process both of these before they become, once we...
Correct. If we pass this tonight, we have 20 days to send it to Albany, but we usually send it out. The Coles office is very efficient. They send it out in a day or so. And as soon as Albany gets it, it's effective.
Anybody on the board have any questions before I go to the public? Anything? All right, anybody in the audience have any questions?
Yeah, open it up.
Hi, Rich Dahab, Kelly Dahab, New York. You said that we can't do state roads, and I understand that, but what about the county roads? Do we have the jurisdiction on Union?
We cannot change speed limits.
So it's state and county?
State and county, that's correct.
Okay.
I would like to do.
Yes, we can't do it.
We have to follow up. They supposed we did a traffic study on Montauk Highway. I guess that was November and December. So we were just trying to get one of those electronic crosswalks, something there to try to slow down, at the top of South Bay. So at the top of South Bay, the people can cross there, because the light is way down the other way. So I haven't seen anything in writing yet, I haven't seen any report yet, so.
It would be better rather than South Bay to have it in the middle of the canal, because there is a cut for handicap walking through there, and lots of people cross there.
Yeah.
That would be a better location.
Let's see what they say about the study, and then the location is something that's phase B, 2, whatever, okay? But we need something there, because people
Agreed.
coming out of Lakeview West, you know, I can't believe there's not more accidents there, to be honest with you, but, you know, but we'll see. All right, anybody else in the audience have anything about the 25?
May I ask for a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Make a motion to close the public hearing, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I would urge adoption tonight of local law number 2 and 3.
Make a motion to adopt local laws
2 and 3.
I'm sorry, local laws 2 and 3, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Get rid of some of those signs, Mike. Okay, the next thing is the ambulance. Our ambulance contract requires us to pay the ambulance corps up to $100,000 each year. But the ambulance started billing people with insurance about 3 years ago. Last year they collected roughly $71,000. So out of the $100,000, we only owe them $29,000. So that's pretty good. So
We budgeted 75.
I think this year we had budgeted 55. Yeah.
This year we did 55?
Yeah.
The year before 75?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's working out. Once the ambulance corps got their billing together, it's saving us some money. So that definitely helps. So make a motion, permission to pay Brightwater Bayshore Ambulance Service for 2024 contract year, $29,787.44. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You guys mentioned before, the We Do boat did show up and sitting in the highway yard in the new garage. We'll probably start looking to get it out there in the springtime. And we have a lot of preparing to do for that. But permission to pay We Do Green Boat, Inc., $103,015 from capital account, for the mechanical harvester. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Every year, we have to get an icebreaker on the canal. What they do is they keep the ice, they keep it flowing, because if we don't, then the poles are going to freeze and lift up. It's $400 to $500 a pole to bang back into place. The last time there wasn't an icebreaker because the guy couldn't get his boat going. Fortunately, I was not mayor, but it cost about $15,000 to pound all the poles back in that went up. So each year, we bring in an icebreaker, and he's, you know, it's one of these things, if he lucks out, he doesn't have to do that much, but he's already been in the canal 3 times, and I anticipate him being in there again. So, permission to contract with Great Cove Boat Transport Corp. Icebreaking services from 12/2024 through April 2025, $5,000 plus reimbursement for gas receipts. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. The next thing is Sound of Silence Run, which is run by Aaron Mascara. That happens every springtime. I think this is the 4th year. Big village event, involves a lot of people in the village. She does a 5 and 10K run, and that's going to be May 17th. Make a motion to approve public assembly, Sound of Silence, 10K, 5K walk run at Walker Beach and designated roads, May 17th, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. And she pays us a fee of $500. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, treasurers and abstract reports. In everyone's folders is our treasurer's reports. If anybody wants to read it, they can. That's up to them. Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and abstracts. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, before I open it up to the public, does anybody on the board have anything to add? Okay, make a motion to open up to the public. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody in the public have anything else to say?
The guys did a great job of salting the roads, but because they can't get the heavy equipment over the bridges were really icy this evening. Could we get the guys to go out there with a bucket of salt, sand, whatever, and just manually do the bridges, because somebody's going to fall on the bridges, and I know you don't want to get the trucks over because you absolutely can't do that.
I walked over them today, I didn't notice it.
I was slipping on them this evening.
Okay. Maybe it's later, okay.
Yeah. They need to be salted.
Yeah, Mike, the bridge is ice before the roads, you see those signs? We could probably just get our smaller truck.
That makes sense. It's a common sense thing, Rich. We'll take care of that. Thank you.
And one other thing, Newsday did it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we were talking about marijuana. We talked about potentially doing it on the North Business District. Newsday did an article that Babylon got $2.8 million over the last couple of years from marijuana sales. Can we reconsider that, since Islip isn't going to do it? It would be a great boon to the village in terms of tax revenue without really impacting the village life at all, because it'd be on the north side of Sunrise.
So the way we voted on that, Rich, they could do it tomorrow, they have to come before us. And when they have-
we have to vote on it as a village. At the time,
I thought we had to basically opt out so that we could control it, where
We-
it
we
be located.
We opt it out, meaning we prohibit anybody from doing it. Once we opt in, then we open the door for applications. But once you opt in, you can never opt out.
yeah,
That was the trick of the law.
at the time, they didn't have their act together, and there was no
Correct.
set rules, and there was nobody knew what was going on.
Understood.
Now that hopefully maybe they got their act together, we could review what the requirements are, because we might not be able to say, you only could go there.
Oh, no, you can't, you can't do that.
Well, again, we'll have to look into that to see what they say. It wasn't the village of Babylon, it was, I know Babylon was against it, Lindenhurst was against it, and Amityville was against it. But the town of Babylon did, I would say, a cowardly thing. They didn't even have an open hearing on it. They voted, if they only had 4 board members there, and 2 of them voted for a public hearing, 2 of them voted against. So since they didn't have a public hearing, they automatically opted in. So that way, he could say, oh, I didn't vote for it, so if it went bad, he covered his butt. So I got no respect for that, but
I agree with you.
We'll look into it a little bit more, see what the exact laws and things are now, that hopefully it's 2-3 years later, and they got their act together. Because when they were first doing it, you were signing a blank check.
No, totally understand, but right now, they do have it together, and we could do it in just the North Business District, and there are no residents who live in the North Business District.
No.
One of the unappetizing things about it was that you can never opt out again. Once you opt in, you're in forever.
Understood.
So that was one of the reasons why. We could always opt out, but once we opted in, we
Understood.
We'll look
married to it.
into it, Rich. We'll look into that, look into your gas blowers. I have all the articles on my desk. So we'll see.
Huntington banned them now.
Yeah. It's not something we would do this year. It would have to be in 2026. Anybody else? Okay, great. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Make a motion to close the hearing, meeting.
Second.
Let's get out of here. Thank you. That was a quick one.
We'll go to a second close to the laws. Perfect, great.
Gabrielle, you buying Gabrielle tonight?
But I'm glad we got it.